Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're about like a quarter of the way through the NBA season now at this stage. And I know it's early, but there's already some talk about MVP candidates, you hear the usual people like LeBron and KD. But we're going to do a series in this channel where we pick 5 candidates and make one video on each of them and discuss why they should be MVP. Now, I'm not going to say them all yet and spoil the whole series. But for episode 1, we're doing Joel Embiid and why he should be the MVP. And granted, we are only a quarter way through the season, but it's enough of a sample to tell how who's doing well this season. So Joel Embiid this season, he's averaging a career high 28.3 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, and 1.3 blocks a game. Also shooting 54.4% from the field, 40.4% from 3, and 84% from the free throw line, and he's also averaging 1.2 steals a game. Now you compare that to last year, where he was only averaging 23 points per game and shooting 33% from 3 and 47% from the field. So he's gone up 5 points. His shooting's gone up a good bit as well. So Joel Embiid, he's part of a Philadelphia 76ers side that are top of the East with a record of 15-6. They've done very well this year. Doc Rivers' first year. Before the season started, I thought Ben Simmons would be the MVP if there's going to be one from Philly. I thought he was a candidate, but nope, Joel Embiid, he stepped up, the big man, the 7-footer. He's played in 16 of the 21 games for the Sixers, as this video has been recorded anyway. So, in these games, Embiid's record is, he has 14 wins and 2 losses out of the 16. So, 14-2 with Joel Embiid. Now, without Joel Embiid, the 76ers have played 5 games, they've lost 4 and won 1. And that win was their most recent win against the Indiana Pacers. And they came back from 19 points or something, so they could have easily lost that one as well. So without Joel Embiid, they're 4 losses and 1 win. And when you think of MVP, most valuable player, that shows the value he has to this team. Without Joel Embiid, they're not winning any games, so that shows his value to the team. Obviously, injuries is one of his biggest problems. I watched the Lakers game, and when Bron pushed him and Marcus Gasol let him fall. It was a big hit off the floor, and he was never really the same after that with his back. But hopefully, if he can stay fit, and keep doing his own, that's why he's an MVP candidate. Now, when on the floor, Philly had the NBA's number 3 overall defensive rating. So, Joel Embiid, he brings more than just scoring. He brings the defense as well. Also, when on the floor, the 76ers are outscoring teams by 13.2 points per 100 possessions. So with Joel Embiid on the floor, the 76ers are doing well, they're winning games. I watched obviously I watched the Lakers and Philly game, and Joel Embiid obviously was the main man. Simmons started off well, and Tobias Harris, another player, is doing very well this season. Obviously had the game winner, but Joel Embiid, winning all these fouls. Haters would call him like the centre version of James Harden, always looking for frees and fouls. But for a 7-footer, and he's a big guy, I think he's over 200 pounds at least. He's a very big guy. He can move quick. Very, very skillful player. And it's impressive to see. Overall, there are a few people saying that Joel Embiid is the current MVP. People like Max Kellerman. He's also the guy that said he'd rather Iguodala over Curry for a clutch 3-point shot. But sometimes Max can get things right. But I wouldn't go saying just because Max Kellerman said something, it's true. Max can speak out of his ass a lot. But in fairness to him this time, Joel Embiid, he's doing very, very well this season, especially compared to last year. If he has any chance of winning the MVP, as I said, he's got to stay injury free, got to stay away from the COVID. He's the underdog for MVP this year. People like, they usually like KD and LeBron, they'd be ahead of him in voting before the season starts. So Joel Embiid's always starting from behind, and Giannis. So Joel Embiid, he needs to stay injury free. He's got to stay away from his back problems he's had this year. He's had lower back problems. I think he had COVID or something. The whole team had COVID at one stage. So he's got to stay injury free. A fit Joel Embiid is a very, very good Joel Embiid. Now, the Sixers need to make sure he's good for the playoffs, more importantly. It's all well and good Joel Embiid winning MVP and going all out during the regular season, and then come the playoffs, he's gassed out, he's more injury prone, and 76ers don't get far in the playoffs, because I think a fit Joel Embiid could easily bring this Sixers team to the finals, to the Eastern Finals. I said before the season that the Sixers are a dark horse. I've made videos about, and I think before James Harden went to the Nets, you could have made a case for the 76ers getting out east, and you still can now, because the Nets are having their own problems, especially defensively, and they don't get Andre Drummond, which I hope they don't, because that'd just be unfair. JaVale McGee won't make that much of a difference. So the Sixers and Nets could be the Eastern Conference Finals. You think the Heat won't be there this year? The Bucks I'm not convinced about, and the Celtics. It depends what the Boston Celtics are a very strange team. You know, one day you get very good Celtics, another not so good. Obviously, all depends on injuries and COVID as well. But you know, Embiid, I think if he stays injury free, the Sixers have a great chance of going far in the playoffs. But the thing is for Doc Rivers is, do you play Joel Embiid near the end of the season? You know, do you play Joel Embiid every minute? And because Embiid will want to keep playing if he keeps his form up to get MVP, or at least being a good shout of it. But Doc Rivers could just say load management, let's rest this guy up, do what they do with Kawhi Leonard, usually with the Clippers. So that's one thing the Sixers had to decide pretty early on. But if Embiid did win the MVP, I think he'd be the first big man, like centre. I don't really count Giannis as a big man. I think he'd be the first big man since Shaq to win the MVP. Maybe KG, but I think it's Shaq who's the last MVP to win it. And you know, Joel Embiid is one of the last true big men, elite big men still in the league. You know, a lot of now Embiid can do what the modern big man does, like can shoot threes, and he's very, very skillful. But he can post up, very dominant, very big player. So you know, Joel Embiid, he's part of a rare kind, and hopefully he can keep it up. So you know, that's the video, guys. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for new, and turn on notifications, because you know, this is only episode 1. We got episode 2, 3, 4, and 5 to come. So see who those candidates are. And yeah, thanks for watching. And all I'll say, guys, I'm out of here.